The Grand Hotel's ballroom glittered under crystal chandeliers. A sea of tailored suits and clinking glasses. At 30, Abigail Carter stood at the edge of it all, her heart pounding like a drum solo. Tonight wasn't just another corporate networking event, it was the first time she'd face her older sister, Lauren, in nearly a year. Her fingers brushed the small silver pin on her lapel, etched with the logo of Zenith Technologies, the company she now led as CEO. In her sharp navy blazer and crisp white blouse, Abigail looked every bit the part. But inside, she was still the girl who'd spent her life chasing Lauren's spotlight. "You've earned this," she whispered to her reflection in a nearby mirror, steeling herself for what lay ahead. Lauren Bennett, 35, had always been the golden child of the Carter family, a beacon of perfection in their quiet Seattle suburb. By elementary school, she was devouring novels meant for high schoolers. In junior high, she ruled as student council president and led the debate team to state championships. High school? Valedictorian, homecoming queen, and a soccer star who clinched a full ride to Stanford. Lauren graduated with honors in finance and political science, landing a coveted role at Pinnacle Wealth, a top-tier investment firm in San Francisco. Her starting salary dwarfed their parents' combined income, and their pride was palpable at every family gathering. Abigail, on the other hand, was just Abby, the younger sister who could never quite measure up. It wasn't that she lacked talent. She'd won a regional coding hackathon in her junior year of high school, but next to Lauren's dazzling achievements, Abigail's efforts felt like flickers against a supernova. Her solid A- grades paled beside Lauren's flawless 4.0. Her spot on the school tech club was dismissed when compared to Lauren's editorial role on the yearbook. Even her hackathon trophy earned little more than a distracted, "That's nice, sweetie," from her mom, who was too busy framing Lauren's latest award. Their parents never meant to pit them against each other, but the comparisons were relentless. Dad's introductions stung the most. Lauren, our Stanford grad, and Abigail, our younger one. As if Abigail's existence was defined by being born second. College widened the chasm. Lauren sailed through Stanford, interning at elite firms and networking with industry titans. Abigail's path was messier. She started at the University of Washington as a marketing major, hoping to emulate Lauren, but felt suffocated by the choice. A disastrous freshman year led her to drop out. To her parents' dismay, after a gap semester working at a coffee shop, she re-enrolled at a smaller college, switching to graphic design, then finally to computer science when she rediscovered her love for coding. It took 6 years to earn her degree, and her graduation was a quiet affair. Overshadowed by Lauren's absence, she was too swamped with a deal at Pinnacle. "At least you finished," her mom had said, squeezing her hand like it was a consolation prize. Abigail's early career mirrored her academic chaos. She bounced between junior developer gigs and IT support roles, never staying longer than a year. Meanwhile, Lauren climbed Pinnacle's ranks with breathtaking speed, becoming a vice president by 30. Family dinners became Lauren's stage to highlight their differences. Still tinkering with computers, Abby? She'd ask over holiday roasts, smirking as their parents chuckled. "I'm a software engineer now," Abigail would correct, forcing a smile. "Oh, right. Hard to keep up with all your job hopping," Lauren would quip, her laughter echoed by their mom and dad, who saw Abigail's career as a quirky detour rather than a quest for purpose. Everything shifted when Abigail met Victor Hayes, a 60-something tech veteran with a knack for spotting raw talent. She was troubleshooting a server crash at a small Seattle startup when Victor, a client, watched her work. "You think outside the box," he said, handing her his card after she'd salvaged critical data with a workaround no one else had considered. That single comment lit a spark in Abigail, brighter than any praise she'd ever received. Victor became her mentor, urging her to trust her instincts and build her own projects. Lauren scoffed when Abigail mentioned him. "A retired tech guy mentoring you? Cute. But tech's a risky game. Not like finance. Did I tell you I just made VP?" But Abigail pressed on. Nights and weekends, she coded relentlessly, crafting apps and prototypes that fueled her passion, even if they never saw daylight. The call that changed her life came on a rainy Tuesday evening. as Abigail reheated takeout in her cramped apartment. Victor's voice crackled with urgency. Abby, I've got an opportunity. Breakfast tomorrow? Over pancakes at a cozy diner. He laid out his pitch. Zenith Technologies, a struggling startup, had hired him as a consultant to fix their floundering market strategy. I want you as my partner, he said, sliding a contract across the table. Abigail nearly choked on her coffee. Me? I'm just a coder, not a consultant. Victor's eyes twinkled. You're a problem solver with vision. That's what Zenith needs. The 3-month gig paid more than her yearly salary. But fear not at her. What if she failed? Then you'll learn something and get paid well for it, Victor said. But I don't think you'll fail. She signed on. Zenith's sleek downtown office buzzed with tension. Layoffs had left empty desks. And the leadership team, mostly older men, eyed Abigail skeptically. Only Sarah Nguyen, head of product, welcomed her warmly, confiding that Zenith had 6 months before bankruptcy loomed. Abigail dove in, analyzing data, sitting in on strategy sessions, and studying their cutting-edge AI analytics platform. She realized Zenith's tech was revolutionary but mismarketed, aimed at slow-moving corporations instead of agile mid-sized firms. Her proposal, pivot the target market, streamline pricing, and rebrand the platform, was bold, risky, and met with raised eyebrows. Ambitious, the chairman said, his tone dripping with doubt. Victor backed her. I've been in tech for 40 years. Abby's plan is solid. After heated debate, the board greenlit a 2-month trial. Abigail worked grueling 16-hour days, leading a small team to overhaul marketing and sales. By week 6, Zenith had signed more clients than in the prior 6 months. By the trial's end, revenue surged 45%, and the company was profitable. The board offered her the chief strategy officer role. And when Victor stepped down as interim CEO, they shocked her by offering her the top job. Me? I've only been here 5 months. She protested. Victor smiled. And in those months, you saved us. The board's unanimous. At 30, Abigail became Zenith's CEO. A secret she kept from her family, wanting to prove herself before facing their inevitable doubts. Tonight's event at the Grand was no ordinary mixer. Pinnacle Wealth, Lauren's firm, was eyeing tech acquisitions, and Zenith was on their radar. Abigail had agreed to exploratory talks, knowing she'd encounter Lauren, who remained clueless about her role. As her driver pulled up to the hotel, Abigail smoothed her blazer, her nerves electric. After years in Lauren's shadow, she was stepping into the light as her equal, or more. Inside, the ballroom hummed with power players. Abigail lingered near the bar, sipping sparkling water, observing Pinnacle's team strutting with confidence. She overheard 2 execs speculating about Zenith's new CEO, dismissing them as some tech fossil brought in to polish the company for sale. She stifled a grin, amused by their error. Then Lauren's voice sliced through the chatter, polished and commanding. As she worked the room with handshakes and perfect smiles, Abigail's stomach tightened. Lauren looked flawless, blonde hair in a sleek bob, a crimson dress screaming wealth. Time to face her. Lauren, Abigail called, striding forward. Lauren's smile flickered, surprise flashing in her eyes before her charm snapped back. Abby, what are you doing here? The emphasis on you was subtle but sharp, questioning Abigail's presence at an exclusive event. Lauren pivoted to introduce her. This is Greg Sullivan, my boss, Senior VP at Pinnacle. Greg, my little sister. Abigail. Greg shook her hand, polite but curious. In finance like Lauren? Before Abigail could answer, Lauren cut in. Oh, no. Abby's in tech, IT support. Right? Or did you switch jobs again? The jab landed, but Abigail stayed composed. Still in tech, she said smoothly, steering the conversation to Pinnacle's tech ambitions. Greg's interest peaked, but Lauren, visibly annoyed, tried to pull him away. We should join the Westbrook team. Greg. He resisted, intrigued by Abigail's insights, until another exec interrupted. As Abigail mingled, earning nods from Zenith colleagues who addressed her as Ms. Carter, to preserve her anonymity. She noticed Lauren watching her, eyes narrowing. During a break, Lauren cornered her. Why are you really here? Abby? This is for executives, not whoever invited you. The implication stung, but Abigail held firm. I was invited. Lauren, I belong here. Lauren's smile tightened. Just don't embarrass yourself. These people are too big for you. She glided away, leaving Abigail fuming but resolute. The evening turned when Abigail overheard Lauren's voice again, mocking her. My sister's great at fixing Wi-Fi. But the big picture? She's clueless. 6 years to graduate, hopping jobs like a lost kid. Laughter followed, though some guests looked uneasy. Lauren continued, she's here tonight, somehow, probably begging for her next gig. Eyes turned to Abigail, some pitying, others curious. Her instinct to flee surged. But she touched her pin, grounding herself. She wasn't that girl anymore. Before she could speak, Greg stepped in, his tone icy. Lauren, enough. Lauren turned, expecting backup, but she froze at his next words. You're talking about our CEO. The room hushed. Abigail Carter is CEO of Zenith Technologies. The company Pinnacle wants to partner with. Lauren's face went ashen, her confidence collapsing. Abigail stepped forward, her voice calm but commanding. I've led Zenith for 6 months, driving a 45% revenue increase. I'm here to shape our future. She launched into a pitch about Zenith's AI platform, captivating the room. Greg nodded. Others leaned in. Lauren stood frozen, her world upended. Leaving the grand, Abigail felt a surge of freedom, not from Lauren's fall, but from stepping into her own light. As she called Jenna, she knew this was just the start of a bigger fight, proving herself, facing her family, and leading Zenith forward. The morning after the electrifying showdown at the Grand Hotel, Abigail Carter woke to a phone buzzing like a hive. Notifications flooded her screen, industry blogs and LinkedIn posts buzzing about the night's drama. Some wildly exaggerated, others uncomfortably accurate. Her PR director had already fired off urgent emails, begging for a statement. Abigail typed a quick response. Business as usual. No comment on personal matters. She wasn't about to let family squabbles define Zenith Technologies' narrative. As she brewed coffee in her cozy Seattle apartment, her phone lit up again. Lauren's name glowed on the screen. Abigail hesitated, her thumb hovering. Was she ready for this? Taking a deep breath, she answered. Abby. Lauren's voice was softer than usual, stripped of its usual polish. We need to talk about last night. Abigail sat on her couch, clutching her mug. I agree. That wasn't how I wanted you to find out. A pause stretched between them. Why didn't you tell me? Lauren asked, a hint of hurt cutting through her usual confidence. You're a CEO. Abby. 6 months. And you didn't tell Mom, Dad, or me? Abigail exhaled, choosing her words carefully. I needed time to prove I deserved it, to myself. And honestly, Lauren, would you have believed me? Silence. Then, quietly, I don't know. For the first time, Abigail heard vulnerability in her sister's voice. Greg called me in this morning. Lauren continued. He wasn't happy, said I showed poor judgment, and embarrassed Pinnacle. I'm off the Zenith acquisition team. Abigail's chest tightened. Despite everything, she didn't want Lauren's career to suffer. I'm sorry, Lauren. I can call Greg. Explain it was personal. Number. Lauren interrupted, her tone firm but not harsh. He's right. I let personal stuff bleed into business. That's not how we're trained. She paused, then added, besides, it's a conflict of interest now. With you being, you. Abigail almost smiled at the awkwardness. Mom and Dad heard. Lauren went on. A friend of theirs was at the event. They want us over for dinner Sunday to talk. Abigail grimaced, imagining the tension. Are you going? She asked. I think we should. Lauren replied, surprising her. They should hear about your success from you, not gossip. They agreed to meet at their parents' suburban home. And as the call ended, Lauren added, for what it's worth, Abby, what you've done at Zenith is impressive. It wasn't an apology, but from Lauren, it was a seismic shift. Sunday arrived too soon. Abigail parked outside her parents' sprawling craftsman-style house. Lauren's sleek BMW already in the driveway. Inside, the air was thick with unease. Her mother fussed over a roast, rearranging carrots as if they held the key to peace. Her father alternated between forced small talk and heavy silence. Lauren sat quietly, picking at her salad, her usual charisma dimmed. Over dessert, Mom's famous apple pie, Dad cleared his throat. Abigail, congratulations are in order. His voice was warm but strained. CEO of Zenith. That's big. Abigail nodded, meeting his gaze. I've been leading Zenith for 6 months. Turning it around from near bankruptcy. Her mother's fork froze mid-air. 6 months? And you didn't tell us? I needed to focus, Abigail said, her voice steady. The company was in crisis. And I had to prove I could lead it. Her mother frowned. We're your family, Abby. We should have known first. Before Abigail could respond, Lauren spoke up. I get why she didn't tell us. Mom, our families always had roles. I was the star, the one who had it all together. Abby was the one still figuring it out. Abigail blinked, stunned by Lauren's candor. What do you mean? Dad asked, confused. Lauren glanced at Abigail, then continued. We put Abby in a box. I did, too, always comparing her to me. Never seeing her for who she was. Abigail picked up the thread. When I dropped out of college. Dad, you said I should be more like Lauren. When I switched careers. Mom, you asked if I'd ever find my place like she did. Her parents exchanged uneasy looks. The truth sinking in. We didn't mean to compare you. Mom said, her voice trembling. We just wanted you to succeed. Success didn't have to look like Lauren's path. Abigail said gently. It took me longer, but I found my own way. Lauren's eyes met hers, and she spoke softly. I owe you an apology. Abby, I've been competitive, cruel even, because I thought it made me look better. It wasn't fair. The admission hung in the air. Raw and real. Abigail swallowed. I wasn't perfect either. I resented your success instead of defining my own. Her mother's eyes glistened. I had no idea you both felt this way. The conversation that followed was messy but honest. Peeling back years of unspoken assumptions. Her parents asked about Zenith. Genuinely curious about Abigail's vision. Lauren shared her own pressures at Pinnacle. The weight of maintaining a perfect facade. As they cleared the table, Abigail felt a shift, not a perfect resolution, but a crack in the old family script. Back at Zenith, the buzz was electric. News of a potential alliance with Pinnacle had the team dreaming big. Sarah Nguyen, head of product, caught Abigail in the hall. 2 more firms called today. Wanting to explore our AI platform after your pitch at the Grand. You made waves, boss. Abigail grinned. Set up the meetings. And Sarah, thanks for having my back that night. Sarah squeezed her arm. That's what teams do. Later, Greg Sullivan emailed, requesting a private meeting to discuss a strategic alliance. Not an acquisition. He proposed integrating Zenith's AI into Pinnacle's platform while keeping Zenith independent, exactly what Abigail wanted. His email was professional, no mention of Lauren's outburst, which she appreciated. Then came the curveball. Greg called to discuss the alliance's leadership. We need someone who bridges finance and tech to lead our side of the integration. He said. Abigail didn't hesitate. Lauren's your person. She's sharp, detail-oriented, and knows Pinnacle's operations inside out. Greg sounded surprised. After what happened, you're recommending her? It's not personal, Abigail said. It's good business. When she hung up, she called Jenna, her best friend, to unpack it all. So, your sister trashed you in front of everyone. And now you're pushing for her to lead a major project? Jenna laughed. You're either a saint or crazy. Life's messy, Abigail replied, chuckling, but she's the best for the job. Weeks later, Abigail faced a bigger decision. Zenith's growth demanded a new chief operations officer to streamline operations as she focused on strategy. Sarah was a strong candidate, but Lauren's name kept surfacing. Her operational expertise from Pinnacle was undeniable. But could they work together daily? Abigail consulted Victor during their weekly mentorship call. Are you considering Lauren because she's the best or to prove you're above the past? He asked bluntly. Abigail reflected deeply. She's the best for the job. The question is whether we can handle our history. Victor nodded. You've both grown. Trust that. Over lunch at a quiet bistro, Abigail slid an offer letter across the table. I want you as Zenith's COO. Lauren's jaw dropped. You're offering me a job? Under you? Abigail nodded. Your skills are what we need. You'd have autonomy. But yes, you'd report to me. Lauren stared at the letter. Why? After everything? Because you're the best person for it. Abigail said. And we've proven we can work together when we focus on the goal. Not the past. Lauren hesitated. What about Pinnacle? It's my career. I spoke to Greg. Abigail admitted. He doesn't want to lose you. But he'll keep a board seat open if you join us. Lauren scanned the offer. Her voice soft. This is generous. It's market rate for your experience. Abigail said. Take your time. They parted with the question unanswered. But 3 days later, Lauren called. I'm in. Lauren's arrival at Zenith wasn't smooth. Rumors from the Grand lingered. And some employees whispered about nepotism. Lauren tackled the skepticism with grit. Diving into process overhauls with meticulous precision. Abigail set clear boundaries, ensuring their work was transparent to the team. Slowly, Lauren's results, streamlined workflows, faster project cycles, won over doubters. Abigail reshaped Zenith's culture, inspired by her own journey. She launched mentorship programs pairing senior leaders with diverse talent and revamped hiring to value unconventional paths. Innovation comes from unexpected places, she told her team, and they listened. One late night, as they pored over quarterly projections, Lauren admitted something rare. I don't know how you do this. Abby, leading a company, it's overwhelming. Abigail handed her a coffee. Surprised. I was terrified at first. Still am sometimes. Fake it till you make it. Right? Lauren stared into her mug. I've been faking it forever. Everyone thought I had it all figured out. But the pressure to be perfect, it's crushing. Abigail softened. I thought you were untouchable. I never saw your struggles. Lauren met her eyes. We never really knew each other as adults. Did we? Maybe it's not too late. Abigail said. That night sparked a new chapter. They started having dinners, sharing stories, finding common ground beyond rivalry. A year after the Grand, Victor retired, and Zenith threw a celebration. Abigail stood before her team, thanking him. Victor saw potential in me when I was invisible. He taught me leadership is about listening, learning, and lifting others. Later, alone in her office, Victor offered his final advice. Success is a journey. Abby, be as kind to yourself as you've been to Lauren. His words echoed as she reflected on the year. The real victory wasn't Lauren's public stumble or Zenith's growth. It was the quiet moments of growth, honest talks, rebuilt trust, and a sisterhood redefined by respect.